the city of Cape Town, handing over Cape Town City Hall ahead of preparations for the State of the Nation address. Mayor Geordin Hill-Lewis is already on speaking at the event. Let's take you at the handover. Let's take you there live.
We are passionate about its success, and we love our parliament, and we want our parliament to succeed. And all of us here in Cape Town, and I know that all of us in South Africa, shared in the extreme pain and sadness watching those buildings burn on that early January morning. And it seemed an absolutely obvious step to us that in that time we should come forward and offer what little help we can offer to make Parliament succeed and to ensure that its business can continue, come what may. Not as Cape Townians, not as separate spheres of government, without any regard for the distinction between the executive and the legislature and the local government and so on, but because, Madam Speaker, we are South Africans. And this is first and foremost a South African tragedy and requires a united national response. So it seemed obvious to us that we should offer our facilities, and it was wonderful to hear that Parliament readily accepted that offer with an attitude of graciousness. Since then, the discussions about the handover have gone exceedingly well, and thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the work that your team has done, and thank you very much to my city colleagues. I tell you, Madam Speaker, after that first day I haven't had much involvement, but there have been a team of people from your office and from my office who have worked nearly day and night to get this facility ready, to make sure it is exactly as you need it for the State of the Nation. And little did I know at the time, but of course it became obvious shortly after, that the State of the Nation would be held on the 10th of February, and of course the 11th of February is the anniversary of this building's, possibly its most famous moment, where Nelson Mandela Madiba addressed the nation and the world for the very first time as a free man on the 11th of February 1990. And that day, when he addressed the world from the balcony just behind us, where we will go shortly together, Madam Speaker, that day represented so much hope and optimism for our country. It represented the defeat of something old and unjust, and the ushering in of something new and hopeful and uniting and peaceful and free and tolerant. And I hope that in this tragedy that we've all just gone through with the loss of our parliamentary buildings, that this State of the Nation, the very first State of the Nation ever to take place outside of the parliamentary, what we know as the parliamentary buildings, the very first one to ever take place outside of those buildings, we hope that it is also an opportunity for our country to come back full circle to that moment on the 11th of February 1990, to give to the country and the world a renewed sense of vision, of hopefulness, of unity, of coming together, of peace and care and freedom and tolerance for our country and for the world. And we must accept that as we prepare for the State of the Nation, that is not necessarily the feeling of the country at the moment. And I think particularly about the extraordinary intolerance that is currently being shown to those who have come to South Africa, sometimes walking thousands of kilometers, fleeing war and terror and famine and poverty, coming here looking for a better life. And I hope that in this time we can say to all of those immigrants to South Africa who have come here for a better life, that you should never ever feel afraid in this country. You should never have to apologize for who you are or where you come from in South Africa. the hopefulness and tolerance and commitment to peace that President Mandela spoke of on this balcony in 1990 is hopefully renewed and restored on the 10th of February 2022, as this site once again hosts the State of the, or for the first time, hosts the State of the Nation address. Now, Madam Speaker, I must tell you something about the key that we're about to give you. The building that we're handing over today was inaugurated in July 1905, the year of our Lord, 1905, a long time ago. And it's a magnificent building. But of course, over the years, it's undergone some renovations and upgrades, and the doors and locks have been changed. And so it was thought for a time that we could not find the original magnificent gilded key that was the original key to this city hall, to the doors that we just came through. But our city has fortunately preserved some of these wonderful artifacts. And here, Madam Speaker, we have the original key that was cast for these main doors of City Hall, which has been kept in safe storage for more than 117 years. And our city archivist went and got that key out of storage, and it's our absolute pleasure to do the symbolic handover today with that original key. We'll do it in a minute or two. With that original key for the use of Parliament for the next week and a half. Our only request is that, as with the mace of Parliament, it be kept in the utmost security and safety, so that it can be returned to safe storage after the State of the Nation and the debate is complete. But it is a very, very historic Cape Town artifact, and it is once again reminiscent of the fact that when this building was opened, only certain residents of Cape Town were allowed inside here, Madam Speaker. That door was not open to all, but now it is open to all, as our society is open to all in this constitutional democracy. And so we look with great excitement and anticipation to the State of the Nation next week. And I wish to say that after this handover is complete, this is no longer Cape Town City Hall, ladies and gentlemen. After this handover is complete, the building behind us is the Parliament of the Republic of South Africa. This building undergoes a transfiguration. Those Anglicans amongst us will know what I'm referring to. This building will undergo a transfiguration, and it will become our nation's Parliament. And it is a very, very proud moment for us to be able to host our nation's Parliament in this magnificent building. I wish you all the best with it, Mr. Chairperson and Madam Speaker. I look forward to attending the State of the Nation next week, and I hope that this will be a landmark State of the Nation that brings our country together and shows us, restores the promise of hope and peace and freedom and tolerance that was first laid out for us when there were 80,000 to 100,000 people on this grand parade listening to the President deliver that speech on the 11th of February 1990. So bless you as you do your final preparations for the State of the Nation next week. And it is our absolute pleasure to be able to hand over this building to you. And we pledge our full support and any other assistance that you need to make sure that Parliament succeeds, not just next week, but over the coming months and years as you undertake your reconstruction project. And I hope that you will build the most impressive, ambitious, exciting and inclusive Parliament that South Africa and Africa has ever seen. So we stand behind you as Cape Town and as South Africans. Thank you very, very much, Maloto.
Thank you very much, Alderman Hill-Lewis. I'm sure you realize that I really enjoy calling you that. Because for many years in Parliament, we called you Honorable Member of Parliament. Today, it's a different story. Thank you very much for your remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Mapisa-Nqakula.
Thank you very much, Program Director, Mr. Mutapo, Your Worship, the Mayor of the City of Cape Town, Geordin Hill-Lewis, Chairperson of the National Council of Provinces, Honorable Amos Masondo, the Minister of Police, Honorable Beki Cele, Deputy Speaker, Honorable Lichisa Zinodi, the executive staff of both Parliament and the City, Parliament led by Madam Kyawa, members of the media, and invited guests. Ladies and gentlemen, today marks 4 weeks since South Africans woke up on the morning of the 2nd of January 2022 to the devastating news of the fire that engulfed certain parts of the building of Parliament, causing extensive damage to several meeting rooms, offices of members of Parliament, and building contents. Now, one of the greatest losses in this disastrous incident was the complete destruction of the National Assembly chamber, an assembly which hosts sittings of one of the houses of Parliament and joint sittings of Parliament, which include the annual State of the Nation address by the President of the Republic of South Africa. This was not just a mere building of brick and mortar that was destroyed. It was a distinguished national heritage which represented rich political history of South Africa, which connected our past, our present, and desired future for a truly united, non-racial, non-sexist, and prosperous free South Africa. But despite this devastation, pain, and disappointment, we will rise again. We will rise from these ashes, as we did in the aftermath of the struggle against apartheid. We will rebuild, we will recover, we will win. South Africans are a resilient and tenacious people. We've gone through the most difficult and devastating phases in our history, and we are certain that we will triumph over this one. The concept of cooperative governance, which was one of the cornerstones of our constitutional democracy, and which enjoins the 3 spheres of government to function cooperatively and support each other in their service to the people, is one of the constitutional mandates of Parliament. The fact that we are here today on this historic occasion of the handover of the Cape Town City Hall is a testament to the dynamism and vibrancy of our Constitution insofar as its foresight and safeguards are concerned. Equally significant and important, it is the matured leadership, and I want to emphasize this, the matured leadership, unity of purpose, and decisiveness displayed by leaders here in making required and necessary interventions to provide solution in times of need. In this regard, We once again extend our deepest gratitude to the Executive Mayor of the city, Your Worship Hill-Lewis, for your leadership and solution-oriented intervention in providing this historic hall for the hosting of the joint sittings of Parliament, which will kick off with the State of the Nation address by the President of the Republic of South Africa, debates on the addresses by members of Parliament, and of course the reply by the President. We also thank many South Africans who have come forward to offer accommodation to host not only the sitting of the SONA, but office accommodation and other assistance to Parliament. We have found the City Hall to be the most suitable facility, meeting all the parliamentary requirements regarding infrastructure and capacity. It was also an affordable option, as the Mayor has promised us that not a cent would be paid by Parliament to conduct its business. I think that is the most important thing, because we have very little to spend to make sure that we provide facilities which will be required by members of Parliament during this period. Like the National Assembly chamber, this hall has rich history, a history that links our past colonial apartheid era and our present democratic dispensation. The hall, which was built in the early 900s and has for years served as one of the colonial symbols of the Cape Colony, has now become our proud heritage and a symbol of our collective hopes, aspiration, and freedom. It is a historic landmark of our journey as a people towards a democratic transition and a free society, and indeed one of the critical milestones of Madiba's long walk to freedom. We have thus come a full cycle. 32 years since our historical occasion on the 11th of February 1990, when he stood by the side of Mandela, President Mandela. The current President, Cyril Ramaphosa, will now address the nation from this very City Hall on the 10th of February 2022. Mayor, you will recall that because of that past, that history, brutal history we come from, that some of the people who are sitting here today watched that event, that occasion of the 11th of February from many, many countries in the world, in the continent where people were refugees. And of course, there were those who were watching that event on television from their prison cells. So for us today, indeed, this South Africa belongs to all who live in it. So if you are in the Free State, you are in Gauteng, you are in Cape Town in the Western Cape, it is South Africa, and it belongs to all of us. It belongs to all who live in it. I thank you for that. Now, today, as the Mayor officially hands over this historic site, it will officially become the precinct of Parliament of the Republic of South Africa until the 17th of February. It will be the first time in the history of our constitutional democracy that the State of the Nation takes place outside the regular precincts of Parliament in Cape Town. I want to thank you, Minister Bekicele, and your generals for being here this morning. Because as the Mayor hands over this City Hall to us today, we know that from now onwards you have a task of ensuring that this Parliament of the people, which is here on the Grain Parade, is well looked after, is well safeguarded. Over the weekend, Minister, Mayor, we saw what happened to a City Hall in an area called, the city called Komani now, which was engulfed by fire.
As we indicated earlier, one of those really busy news days, but the Mayor of Cape Town, Geordin Hill-Lewis, just moments ago handed over the historic City Hall to Parliament, setting into motion a process allowing for the State of the Nation address to be delivered from there on the 10th of February.